guys, Dr. Christy Ennis. I have said it before and I'm gonna say it again, that sit happens. And in this day and age, a lot of sit happens. And since we cannot control all that sit that's happening, that ends up tightening up a bunch of different muscles. Our hip flexors, our chest, our neck, some of the back muscles, and some of those muscles then, including some of those core muscles, actually get a little bit weaker. So what we want to do today is learn how to counteract that. Even if we still have to sit, we're going to do some exercises that you can do while you are sitting, and maybe no one will even notice you're doing a thing, at least for some of them. So all you will need is a band. But if you don't have a band today, you can still do these exercises even without the band and still get some really great benefits. So let's get started. All right, for our first exercise, you're gonna wanna grab your band. Remember what I said there, you don't need to have a band in order to make this work. And I just wanna point out the super cool chair that I'm sitting on by Moista too. I love this thing. As you can tell, right, it rocks. You can even go the other way and rock the other way. This helps counteract some of the sitting that you're doing by getting a little bit of movement, so you're not putting as much pressure through the spine. I'll link that below for you guys too. But let's get back to the exercise. So exercise number 1 is called a W because you truly are making a W with your body. You can do the YMCA in there too if you really want. But you're gonna squeeze into those shoulder blades, pull that band apart, and then I'm really gonna squeeze a little bit more as I bring those forearms up. Look how nice and straight I'm sitting, right? So this really helps to open up the chest as well as build through some of that back body. And you wanna shoot for about 10 reps, roughly. All right, we're gonna move on and continue to open up that front body, strengthen that back body, work those lats a little bit more. So if you take your band overhead, pull open and then squeeze, bring those elbows behind and those hands behind. Again, opening up and strengthening through that back body, still shooting for around those 10 repetitions. Okay, the third and last exercise with the band is a row. So you actually want to place one arm out in front so that you can get a little bit of resistance. Of course, sitting up nice and tall. Gently squeezing those shoulder blades back. Then I'm gonna pull that elbow right behind. Really, it's leading from that shoulder. If you wanna add a little bit more to it, get that pull and then add a little rotation. You'll open up that spine a wee bit more and engage in some of those shoulder stabilizers a little bit more as well. This next exercise is more about mobility in through the spine, the neck, and the back here, and the mid-back too, low, mid, all of it. So you're going to take and place your hands not directly on your knees, but on your thighs. This is a little yoga move. So you're gonna take a nice breath in, arch that head, squeeze those shoulder blades, or I should say lift that head, arch that back, and then exhale, kind of tuck and round, bring those shoulder blades forward. So a little seated cat and cow. For this one, try to aim for around 5 repetitions. This next one moves on down the body a little bit to get those hip flexors, which really get darned tight. So as long as you have a chair without handles, you can do this right on your chair. I'll show you afterwards if you don't have a chair that's, free and open and it has armrests, how to do that standing. So what you're gonna do is just kind of scoot your body over to one side. We're gonna stretch this left leg out. I'm gonna bring it down, so my butt cheek is off and it's behind. Oh, and already this feels good. Now I love this chair too because I can actually rock into it a little bit and feel that stretch. It's okay if you don't have a rocking chair. Just kind of hang out there. You can add that arm up and over and add a little mobility and flow in with that too because you've probably been sitting for a while now and things are gonna tight and stuck. So adding that mobility helps. So about 10 repetitions just like this on both sides. If you don't happen to have a free chair or a free range organic chair and you need to make sure that you have something that you can stand on that's sturdy, this one will work out perfectly for you to stretch out those hip flexor muscles too. So again, probably not a rolling chair, but something that you can put your foot up on. So again, if I'm gonna stretch that left side, it's actually the right foot that's gonna go right up. I'm gonna do a little pelvic tuck, squeeze into those glutes to actually open this a little bit more. Bring that left arm overhead. And then I'm gonna push that hip forward just a little bit till you're feeling a nice stretch through the front of that left side. And same idea, you can get a nice little mobility and flow going right here. This next stretch gets those hip flexors and the rotators of the hip too, so you got both at the same time. You're gonna take one leg, I'll use that left leg again, cross that ankle over that knee, and this may be enough for you. You may want to stay here and just kind of play around with opening and releasing from this position. If you need a little bit more stretch, keep that back nice and flat, and you can kind of fold over a little bit, and then you can even take your body, engage in those abs, lean back, open up that spine a little bit, and then use those abs to bring you forward. So you're almost getting a little bit of a partial crunch while you're seated. So a little ab work, a little spine opener, and a little hip opener at the same time. This next one, we're gonna get a little rotation through the spine and open up those inner thighs. So if you bring your legs nice and wide, you might need to get towards the edge of your seat a little bit. You're gonna try to keep a relatively flat back again as I start to fold forward. Now this may be as much as is comfortable for your body to go, and that's cool. You just hang out right here, kind of press those inner thighs open. If you're able to, come right on down to that ground, and then even adding a little bit more to this, keep that right hand in the center, open up that left arm. You can let the head follow as long as that feels okay. You can always keep that head right down towards the center. And then you're just alternating sides, about 5 or so on each side. If you're not able to reach the floor, keep those hands in a prayer position, and then you're just still going to add that little bit of rotation. Again, of course, as long as it feels okay. And just keep in mind that with all of these exercises, choose the ones that feel good for your body. You don't necessarily have to do all of them. I'm just giving you options for all those different body parts that tend to become an issue. These next 3 exercises are a little added bonus for you because you're actually gonna get up out of your chair as long as you have the time in the day. And come on, all of us have at least a little bit of time to do that during the day. You don't have to take all day to do it, but these will help get a little bit more movement and flow into that body. So this first exercise is actually going from a sit to a stand position, which we have to do anyways. Easiest is using those hands to help. Kind of level 2 is hands on the thighs, and level 3 would be no hands at all, which you really want to try to do, but you want to make sure that you don't fall either. So use whatever hand position you need to get a nice, good muscle burn and work, but not fall over. So think about kind of squeezing to those glutes and those abs, lean it forward a little bit, come all the way up. As I come up, my arms are gonna come up and open. So I'm opening up through that chest, through that spine, extending a little bit. And then same idea when you go to sit back down, try not to look behind you, clearly don't fall, but then come right on down. Don't let those knees collapse inwards either, right? So it's squeeze it all, come on up, open and say, ah, you don't have to say that part, and then come right back down with control. The next standing one doesn't require any chair at all, but you can be right next to it if that makes you feel comfortable. So you're gonna step back into a lunge and those arms are gonna come back. So if you can drop straight down without irritating those knees, that's what you wanna do, and step it right together. Use again some of that back body, but stretch out those hip flexors and that spine. If it bothers your knee to bend it, just keep it into a nice little step back, still thinking about kind of pressing that hip forward, and you'll still get a lovely stretch at the same time. This last one for today is right on the ground. So you have to make sure that your coworkers don't get annoyed by you lying on the ground, and make sure your floor is somewhat clean. So what you're gonna do is just lie right on that belly, bring those hands about chest level. As long as that's comfortable, you can always play around with this and bring them up or down a little bit more. You wanna think about tucking that chin back, squeezing into those shoulder blades, using the back of that body versus your hands to really kind of press you up into a small yoga cobra here. And again, what this is doing is opening up that entire front body and working on strengthening that whole back body. Make sure you squeeze into those glutes at that same time. So again, 5 or 10 repetitions of these, and there you have all the exercises you need to get feeling darned better during the day when you're sitting in your chair.